Hi, so my name is Chris Bayer and I'm CTO or Chief Technology Officer at IDBS. A very privileged role, and I joined the company back in April of this year. First of all, I should say that I'm new to the pharmaceutical industry. So my prior background really has been in the air travel industry, also in enterprise management for IT, and then before that in advanced medical systems. So I'm quite new to the pharmaceutical space. But as I've come into the industry, one of the things that's been very apparent to me, and honestly I think the greatest challenge, but also the greatest opportunity as well, is how pharmaceutical companies can accelerate the timeline for the development of new drugs. It's quite clear that when a company invests to develop a new drug, it's a multi-million pound investment over many years. The scary thing, though, is that they can't really achieve their return on investment until the drug has been fully approved and is sitting on the shelves being sold. And of course, the other challenge they face as well is patents. So they can make a patent application, but obviously then they want a timeline for that patent to expire, and then anyone can use that mechanism to create a drug. And so therefore, shortening the time for drug creation is critical, because if you can do that, it gives the pharmaceutical company a competitive advantage. And of course, it gets drugs to customers more quickly, potentially saving lives. So your point was, how can technology help shorten that timeline? And I think in order to answer that, we need to understand the kind of cycle, if you will, that the pharmaceutical companies go through when they're developing a new drug. Throughout that development phase, what they're doing typically is they're running lots of experiments. Then what they're doing is they're gathering data from those experiments, and then they're analysing the data. And so you get this kind of cycle, because when they analyse the data, the information from that informs for the next set of experiments, and so the cycle continues. Technology can really help there in three ways. First of all, what we can do is we can help that experimentation by, first of all, providing technology that allows you to turn that into a workflow, an application-centric workflow, and also that allows you to automate that workflow. So now those experiments can be driven by this application workflow, and they can be automated. The second area we can help then is in the data gathering. So typically what you find is that experiments, the results from those are either written by hand, or they're put into what we call an electronic lab notebook, or the information comes from many different disparate devices that we use during the experiment. So what you end up with is lots and lots of data in many different forms. And all that data needs to be gathered, it needs to be normalized, it needs to be sequenced, and context needs to be applied to it. And again, we can use technology to do all of that much, much faster than a scientist could. Now, what we do is been doing that. We also put that data in something we call the data backbone. So it's not just the data from that experiment that's stored there, but it's the data from all the experiments. So we now build up a history over time. So it's a very data-centric model here. And then from there, we can then help in the third area around analytics. So we can bring a lot of very powerful analytics that now can analyze that normalized data and spot inflections and patterns in it using either business intelligence techniques, or better still, generative AI. And this is an area where we're really pushing the industry at the moment into using Gen AI to spot meaningful information in the data much faster and more effectively than the human being can. So from all of that, how technology can help is not only to provide a much more efficient workflow and spot much more context and information that then of course gives better decisions around the next set of experiments, but on top of that, of course, it shortens that cycle, it speeds it up. And by doing that, we can then bring drugs to market much faster. Personally, I mean, I'm a technologist, I'm an engineer, I love tinkering, I love innovation and kind of new inventions. I like to stay very current, and also I'm very driven to work for innovative companies and help take them to the next level. That's really important to me personally. But of course, innovation has got to be in the context of business as well. You can't just innovate for innovation's sake. There needs to be an important business context around that. And so I think for me, it's about innovation, but where you can deliver value to the customer. And perhaps the most important part of that is making sure that as an innovation company, we really understand the needs of our customer. And one of the things that matters to us in IDBS is that we are customer-centric, that we understand who our customers are, what their needs are, what the use cases are, the workflow that they need to deal with every day, so we can then craft technology solutions for them to solve their problems and have some fun along the way.